Actually run out of tea. Disaster. Actually run out of tea. Disaster. Out of tea. Disaster. Mm, this is my motorcycle impression. Hello, it's me again. I'm here today, as it is Monday, as I realized just this morning. This is the brief Monday show that I have here on the War Thunder channel, where we talk about the game for about 2 hours and maybe other things. And usually I have tea, but today I don't because I found out we ran out. I don't know how this happened. We had a huge box and it's just gone. So I've got the coffee from the machine, which is not exactly the most astute beverage one can consume, but it is at least, I don't know, it looks a bit like tea, so it'll have to do for now. Hope you're all having a nice day so far. How's it all going? I'm doing okay. I'm going to shift over here so I'm a bit more in line with the camera. Yes, so on this little show that we have here, I say it's a show, it's not really a show, is it? It's just sort of me sitting for a while. Basically, if you want to know anything about the game in terms of any questions you have, don't know what vehicle to play, premium to get, how to do such and such, I can try my best to help because I have played an embarrassingly long stretch of this game. So I will be here to assist if need be. I will wait for some questions to develop because usually it does sort of take a little while, and I will see how this is. It will probably there is bits in it. What is that? A little while, and I will see how this is. It will proper, does it? There is bits in it. Disaster. No, I'm not a fan of that. Anyway, yeah, I'll try this in a moment, and then we can see how it goes. Hello, hi Abigail. Oh, Crystal Sharky, how am I? I'm okay. I'm very warm today. As opposed to most days, I'm still very warm most days anyway. But it's today. It's not a It's not a very cool day today, which is sort of quite depressing as I'm not someone that really works very well outside of the cold, or at least like 18 degrees. It's like 30 degrees, and it's constantly 30 degrees in my room, which means I can never kind of chill and hang out, which is not very fun. I'll put these on as well so I can hear myself and just sort of see what's occurring, and try and assist. Uh, Still waiting on that hug. So I mean, it's difficult to sort of maintain such a commitment when the world is as it is. But at some point, maybe that can happen. I don't really know, especially on the legality of such things. Um, what do we got then? Hey, Oxy, your thoughts on how important active scouting is, as many players don't really use the function. Yeah, I think at least with me as well, I definitely get some instances where I am in like a light tank or a scout vehicle, and I just sort of completely forget that I have the ability to scout stuff. And yeah, I think that's actually quite a big thing because I often find with myself that it's not that I don't want to scout stuff; it's that I sort of forget that it's possible to do it in the first place. So I think that's something that could potentially be made a little bit more clear, perhaps. But I think overall it's something that is very, very useful, especially for vehicles that can't really do much else, which is why it's always good to have a light tank in your lineup, especially for up tiers, as if the other vehicles that you have can't really do anything, you can at least have a tangible effect with the light vehicles, which is pretty great. Um, the reward that you get from it is quite low, I think, though. You don't get too much apart from the discount to your cast planes, which is a nicer bonus overall because it is more tangible rather than like a little bit of lines and a little bit of RP. It does actually actively do something, which is very, very nice. I think it does have a pretty impactful place, and it does give light vehicles the ability to do stuff from the front. Because usually one-on-one from the front, light tanks aren't going to do too well, especially in the lower tiers. A bit different in the higher tiers. But it does give them the ability to do stuff when they're sort of out of their element, which they are most often are on some maps. So I think it's a good feature, and I'm glad that we finally got it. Well, finally, it's been in the game for a long time now, but in the grand scheme of things, it'd take a while for something like that to occur. So yeah, I think it does definitely have a place. Just think for me, I need to switch my brain on and be able to sort of be aware that I need to actually use the scouting function and that I actually have it, which is a little bit tricky sometimes. Hmm. Uh, what do you think about a video on countering the German KV-1C, similar as the video of the T-34? Yeah, I mean, if you mean sort of in relation to the like the videos they do. I know they do like a series on it. I could definitely do that. I mean, it's something you can suggest. Absolutely. I mean, they're always open to more stuff to make for the channel. Maybe there'll be more coming soon. Actually, I know some morsels of information about that. So those will hopefully be fun. Yeah, definitely. It is possible. How much do you watch CC content on War Tinder? I only really watch it as sort of relative to the job, because I need to sort of look at the videos and make sure nothing whack is going on, and just to sort of make sure the CCs are getting the amount of support that they sort of are eligible for. So yeah, I watch it a bit for that. I don't really watch it outside of that though. I don't really I don't know. I don't really watch much stuff on YouTube anymore. It's mostly just sort of music and the occasional podcast and things. I don't really watch sort of game content. There are some sort of creators and YouTubers I watch, but not really in the War Thunder sphere itself. Yeah, I don't really do that too much anymore. But it's not that I don't want to. It's just that, I mean, my job is partially watching CC videos for War Thunder, and I mean, I'm sort of all War Thundered out on terms of the YouTube front by the time my day is over. So yeah, I don't watch too much, but a little bit. Where is the tea? I don't know. We ran out, so I've just got coffee today. Before you say anything, this mug is yellow, as you can see by the sort of reflection under my palm here. It is yellow. There is a perfect green screen behind me. I don't understand why it's like this, but it is, and we sort of need to deal with it together as a happy family or something. Not that probably, but we'll see. Hello, Shadow Derper. Is that your name? That is certainly a name. How are you? I'm doing okay. What does this say? Remove. I don't even know if I can say that word. Excellent. You have heard that the CL13 is pretty pog. Well, it is certainly a vehicle that, when it is at its optimum matchmaking, can be quite nice, but most of the time, not so much. But it's very fun though. I remember playing that back in the day. I miss early jets like that. I think that's just sort of nostalgia though. I don't think it's sort of necessarily objectively a better experience. But yeah, I miss that. How do I get better at ARB? I think a lot of it depends on the vehicle that you're using initially. Some things are some aircraft are especially difficult to get into. A lot of the early aircraft as well. Some of them are either really, really good or really quite poor. But playing something that's more of a hybrid can work really, really well. Which is an aircraft that can turn, can boom and zoom, can sort of do everything in between, and that way you can you're rarely in a situation where you can't do anything, which is really good for passively learning all of the chunks of gameplay that you'll get. So yeah, that's something that I think is a pretty important way to start with. So the 109s are really good for that. Mustangs are quite good. The early Mustang, especially the C, I find quite good for that. And the J2Ms as well. Some of the Japanese aircraft, the Ki 61s, can be really nice as well. I think the 109s are one of the best to really learn with, because they don't really hold your hand in any respect, but they do offer you a lot in sort of every area of how you can actually play an aircraft, and I really like those. Like, if you get to a level where you're incredibly competent and you're also not fighting someone that really knows what they're doing, you can outturn Spitfires in the 109. Like, I've done it, and I know loads of people who've done it, and it's absolutely possible. And I think a vehicle like the 109, the early ones, like the F series, are really good for kind of pushing to the limit because there's a lot you can do with them. And there's rarely a situation where you can do absolutely nothing while you're playing them. And that's something I've always found has helped, I think. So that would be a good introductory aircraft. I think finding something that you find enjoyable to play is going to be a good thing to do. And I think get away from the like 1.0 to 2.0 bracket as well, because those matches play so differently to the sort of the rest of props in ARB. So it's not too good idea to stay in that comfort zone for too long because you won't really learn how the majority of your games are going to work from those matches. So yeah, I'd probably maybe go for the 109, something versatile, something a bit more of a hybrid, and kind of go from there, I would say. But yeah, something along those lines. Do you prefer ground or air? I don't know really. I think I used to always prefer air because the engagements that I had felt more rewarding when I won them. For tanks, it's like I can point and click on someone and it's just pointing and clicking. I don't really feel like I've beat that person. But in the air, most of the time, the person you're fighting has the onus to react to you and potentially beat you if they know what they're doing. And so I think it's always more satisfying in air to sort of combat like that. And yeah, I think when AirRB is in its sort of peak state of what you want from the mode, which is usually like you're having a good fight with someone on relatively equal terms, and you can use your advantages of your aircraft, nullify your disadvantages, and use those advantages to beat the person you're fighting. And that's, I think, really, really satisfying and a great kind of feedback loop for a game. So I really like that. But tanks is more consistent in that the kind of enjoyment that the enjoyment that you get from playing tanks is more consistent to sort of have from the experience. And in RRB, you can climb and take out a bomber and dive on a fighter on the deck. It's like, sure, you've killed some stuff, you've got some RP, but like I know some of it doesn't really feel earned for me. So I think tanks are more consistent, and I think overall, if I had to choose, I probably would choose tanks. But when aircraft are right, when like you're in that perfect situation, you're having a really nice dogfight, that is sort of unbeatable for me. And I think that's how I would answer that question. Eric, so you gave me the T29 last week, but how do I play it? Well, the T29 is incredible vehicle, really, but it does suffer a little bit in the up tiers because its advantages are nullified a little bit. It's a vehicle that's sort of the quintessential peak of heavy tank design in that you have armor against the right enemies, APHE especially, that is incredibly strong. You have mobility that lets you get to where you need to be on the map, and you have a gun and a fire rate that are really quite balanced for each other. So anything you penetrate, you will likely kill, and the armor, while not being intensely reliable, can save you against a lot of the weaker shells you'll meet. It's not going to save against Sabo, darts, or any of the heat rounds, but it is quite survivable in that it has a lot of crews spread out around the vehicle as well. So if you take a shot into the turret, through the mantlet, etc., with Sabo or heat, it's unlikely going to knock your entire vehicle out. So you are survivable in that sense. And it does sort of fit the role of a kind of traditional heavy tank design. And I like it for that. I think it's one of those vehicles that is almost self-explanatory if you have a kind of base level of confidence with the game itself. But if you don't quite have that, I can appreciate it's probably a bit more tricky and not really as easy to make it work as effectively as it sort of would be otherwise. So I think something to keep in mind as well is to make sure that you're not brawling too close to your enemy because you do have a comparatively long reload. It's not too long for the gun that you have, but it is long enough so that if you trade a shot with an enemy, you both miss or you both don't penetrate, they will pretty much 9 times out of 10 reload faster than you will. So you will be at a disadvantage if you're in that situation. So if you are struggling, it's a good idea to stay back a little bit so that you're not putting yourself in the air or sort of in the direct line of sight of enemies, where if you fire, they do have the chance to rush you before you can reload. So that's something important to sort of consider. And as well, I think map knowledge for a vehicle like that is very important because if you are out of your element, you are getting a bit too close, it is difficult to get yourself out of that situation. It is mobile, but it's not quite mobile enough. And you do have the firepower to stick at range and have a reliable effect with the gun. I would only use I think it's the T13 shell, the APHE. I wouldn't bother using any of the other ones. The spooling on the regular AP is still decent, but it's nowhere near as good as the APHE, and it does have the overpressure effect as well. So that's one that I would absolutely go for. I would not really use any of the others. That's what you should really stick to. And yeah, that's sort of a very brief way of looking at it. I think there's like with I don't know how I can say this in the sort of the politest way I can, but it is a vehicle that does do a lot for you if you do know how the game works. And I think the rest of using the T29 literally comes to click on tanks well, put tank in good place, and you know, basically that. It does do a lot for you in that respect. So I think if you are struggling with it, just play it a bit more passively, a bit more carefully. Make sure you're using the APHE, and yeah, stick with your team. Use them as a sort of passive buffer from you and your enemy, and you should be able to have like a decent introduction to the vehicle from that kind of playstyle. I think that was a very long answer, and I've missed a lot of questions. I apologize. Let me see if I can find something else. Human Husk, I'm talking about the T29 at the moment. There's a lot of YouTube comments as well that I missed. They always move much faster, so it's difficult to see. Just the sort of standard stuff. When stuff's coming, I can't answer any of these things. No, that's all. When is the A10 coming? And I have no idea. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I have no answer for such things. How do I play the Avenger in the 4.7 lineup? A lot of it is positioning with the Avenger. Obviously, you have a great gun, and decent mobility. Well, decent mobility is perhaps a bit disingenuous. It has great straight line speed, but not really mobility in the sense that you can't reverse or change your position easily. So that is really a difficulty with the Avenger and pretty much all British vehicles that follow that same kind of design doctrine. So the Avenger is difficult in that sense, because if you sort of push quite far and you're in a bad situation, you can't really back out of it, and that hurts because the playstyle of the Avenger lends itself to something that is very mobile, very flanky. But if you get caught out on the flanks, you have no fallbacks to get out of that situation. There's not really much you can do. You can maybe swing the hull around and drive off, but that's going to put you even more at a disadvantage. If you get shot in the engine, you're dead, etc. So it's tricky. It is a vehicle that definitely doesn't work well on the front lines at all. You have no benefits there. Your gun will work really well at range anyway. You don't need to put yourself at close range. So I think with the Avenger, a good thing to really do is rush yourself to either a good sniping spot or a position into the map that you can control a lot of ground while covering, and a location that gives you an escape route as well. And if you are covering a ridgeline, one thing that I like to do is angle my hull sideways and on that ridgeline. I'm not pointing the hull forwards to the ridge, because that way, if I get hit, very slow reverse backwards. But if I'm already sideways and I get hit, I can just drive straight and use that initial momentum to swing myself around and back into cover. And that will save you a few seconds if you're getting ranged in. So that can really, really help. I think using that as a sort of a cornerstone tactic for the Avenger itself. But with everything else, it is pretty much just map knowledge and keeping yourself out of the direct line of fire. That pretty much goes for every vehicle in the game, if you think about it, I guess. But even more so for a vehicle like that, because you don't have anything to fall back on. Your armor won't really save you, and that's, your mobility won't save you defensively. You have good offensive mobility, but incredibly poor defensive mobility. So you need to keep yourself out of the front line, keep on the flanks, keep on the side, and try and stay as far back as you can while still putting yourself in a position that lets you get the most out of mobility. Because if you're not using the mobility to push to a good spot, you might as well just be using the Firefly, because, say if you drive 20 seconds out of the spawn, camp on a hill somewhere, great. That works for the vehicle, but you could have just played the Firefly in that spot and had basically the same level of ability to work in that location. If you are using the Avenger, you want to get the most out of it by putting the mobility to work. So pushing out, finding that spot to stay in, but make sure you do have a way to escape quickly. And I think that's probably what I would go for as a sort of bite-sized nugget of advice. Why do I say it like that? I don't know why I say it like that. Awful. For the Avenger. That's what I would say. There was a question that I wanted to answer that I missed. I also remember how to breathe. Okay. Why does Russian tank design doctrine demands poor gun depression? I don't think it was necessarily a demand. It was that the areas in which they were fighting were very, very, very flat, so they didn't need to have any gun depression. A lot of the theaters they fought in, it was very, very flat ground, very open ground, and I think the sort of overall design and theory at the time was that they didn't really need to use those hills, and especially because a lot of them were used as sort of stationary emplacements. Burying them half in the ground or sort of in kind of little tank trenches. So they were already below anyway, like quite low in the ground. So they didn't really need that extra depression. And it's just sort of how they were designed in general like that. But I don't think it was a kind of thing is though they had to have poor gun depression. It was just they didn't need to have any, generally speaking, anyway. Hey Oxy, are you guys satisfied with the state of ARB? That's not really a question I can answer on behalf of everyone working in the company. I can't really do that for you right now. Um, and I mean, it's sort of a very grey question anyway. I mean, I personally enjoy ARB. Obviously, there are things I think could be improved, but I like playing it. And that's probably the most honest I can answer that question. I can't really answer anything on behalf of anyone else. But I kind of like it. Yeah, I mean, I still play it from time to time. Not really that much because I don't really have a reason to play it anymore. I've unlocked every aircraft. I've got every camo for every aircraft now, apart from I think a couple of the newer ones or the new jets. So I don't really there's no really need to play it anymore. I can just play tanks and I still have more stuff to do there. Um, yeah. What's Mike doing at this exact moment? I don't know. I could ask him, but he's probably busy doing his own stuff. He's in Portugal, seeing his family and his GF, which is very nice. And I don't want to disturb, but maybe he'll pop in and appear. He does sometimes, so he may. As you can tell, the heat is not doing wonders for my hair right now. It makes it very frizzy. Also, you can see how grey I am. I'm going so grey. By the time I'm 30, in like 10 years, well, not 10 years, like 8, 9, I don't know, but in the amount of time, by 30, I'll have completely white hair, which will be fun if I'm still working here. I'd look like I'm 50 years old. Not that I don't look like that already. So excellent. Right. How to aim 50 cals in the B-17? I usually find that aiming higher than you need to helps, but I haven't played bombers in quite a while. So maybe that's like outdated advice, but I do always remember trying that. Well, at least aiming to use that as a tactic, and it did mostly work. Because I think it's easier to see, because your rounds obviously have drop, it's easier to adjust downwards and upwards when the trajectory is established. And that always saves me a few seconds in aiming. So that's what I did. I don't know if that will work for you. That may be, because I haven't played the B-17s properly for like maybe 5, 6 years. So I'm not sure if that's the best advice I can give, but that is at least what I did. And I'm not sure if it would help, but hopefully. T30 would be cool to see below the T34 in the tech tree. It's already a premium, and it's going to stay as a premium, I think. It is already in the game. I don't know if that's if you don't know it's already in the game, or if you would like to see it moved, but it's going to stay as a premium indefinitely. Really, that's just how they work. Yeah, not going to happen, I'm afraid, but it is there if you want to potentially play at some point. Hello, Surfer. How are you doing, buddy? It's been a while. How's everything going for you? I look very young. Ha ha ha. Yes, I suppose. I mean, I do look quite ambiguous in a lot of ways, which is helpful sometimes, but very unhelpful in other times because I think I will end this sentence now. But in quite common ways, it means that I get like, don't know, I get ID'd, and I got ID'd from an energy drink when I was, I think, like a few weeks after my 20th birthday. And I literally just said to the cashier, like, can you see how many grey hairs I have? I want to buy this like coffee flavored energy drink because I'm really tired and I gotta go home. I gotta do all my work. This is a nightmare. My life is horrible. Please help me. And I think my my outburst of dissatisfaction with my existence just sort of let her buy. Well, she didn't really mind, and I bought it, so that was fine. I will never go into that Tesco's again, though. Yes. Why is there not a premium anti-air? There is one. It's the ZUT-37, awful anti-air vehicle, which I think is why it's a premium. It's like a light tank, basically. Um, it's a sort of very rapid-fire 37mm cannon with AP rounds, which is pretty decent. 60mm pen max, which is decent for 2.7, but it is awful as an anti-air. Really does not help at all. But there is one. There is one. Um, how to shoot down tanks in a fighter? Um, loaded question. I think perhaps if you mean how to kill tanks in a fighter, you need to make sure that the rounds you're using have AP penetration, well, AP rounds in them. You need a really good angle of attack for strafing, so like as directly straight on as you can. Even a slight angle will mean that you won't really get through. So make high looping maneuvers, start from a high altitude, so you're not like diving at 800 meters because you won't be able to pull out. And if you do, you'll have like less than a second on target. So make sure you have altitude, have some AP rounds equipped, and make sure your angle of attack and your dive is as steep as possible and pull out quite quickly because it's very likely you will slam into the ground if you're not used to it. That's probably what I would go with. Can you be my fwen? We can be fwens. I don't know if fwen is different to friend. Perhaps they do have different connotations. I'm not sure. Perhaps you can help me become aware of that. But yeah, we can be that, definitely. Will the World War mode come back sometime? Maybe. I'm not sure. I can't really say to anything like that. To sort of reiterate, this is not really an area where I can release information for things. It all has to come from official sources. I can't leak anything, and I can't sort of tell you new things are coming. Within limits, there's probably some things I can mention, but if it's along the lines of new events, new vehicles, that kind of thing, there's nothing I can really say. But I can at least sort of, don't know, infer perhaps. Do you think the T29 is a good buy? It is a much better vehicle than it is a product, but it is still a great product. Reason being that, actually, I guess I can show you. Here you go. So this is on the other screen, so I can't right now talk and use the mouse. So I'll just this is a static. So basically, right now, the T29 is tier 4, and that means it can research tier 5 and everything below it. The issue is that, as you can see, there's not really many vehicles here in rank 5 to research. So how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 vehicles you can research, not really very much. And if, for example, you buy a tier 5 premium or a tier 6 premium, there's a lot more vehicles to research. And all of those vehicles in rank 6 have a much higher RP requirement to unlock, which means you can't use the T29 to get the bulk of those vehicles effectively, which does really take a hit for it as a product, which is a bit of a shame. It is a really fantastic vehicle, very versatile, very usable, but the issue really with it is that it's just not a vehicle that has much longevity as a product beyond tier 4. But what you can do with it, research rank 5s, put talismans on them, and then ride that wave out. And, well, really, you can make the T29 your last premium. It's a great SL, it's a great vehicle for getting Silver Lions. Really good for that. Because it's versatile, you take a lot of hits, you can do a lot of things on the battlefield. So it's really good for that as a premium, but it doesn't have much longevity for getting RP. So what I would suggest you do is, it's still definitely worth buying it, I would really get it, but then don't get anything else above it. Just when you get to rank 5, get talismans, put a talisman on, say, the Ontos, the Patton, the T32, anything like that. And from there, you can put talismans on rank 6s, and that's really how I would go for it. So, yeah, I think it is worth it. I would definitely say, yeah, I'll definitely say it's worth it. But depends what you want, ultimately. But yeah, I would say so. Let me see. I always sort of give quite long-winded answers, then miss lots of comments. Is there a fix yet for no sound driver? No idea. That's better suited for the forum and the tech team than me. Good guess, but not quite. Is there going to be another crafting event? Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I do. But I don't know. I might do, though. But I don't. Yeah, cool. Nice comments there. Fantastic. Is it worth it to buy the T44? Definitely, yep. T44 is a absolutely phenomenal vehicle. it's a bit tricky out of its element, and especially when you are fighting 7-3 against like KTs and stuff frontally. So it does require a little bit of map knowledge in that sense to really get the most out of it. But it can be a bit tricky. It does definitely have some limitations. The frontal firepower is lacking a little bit. It's very unstable when it comes to a stop. And yeah, but I think it has incredible armor and incredible versatility and great mobility. The T-44 is one of the vehicles that I find I literally have no fear playing at all. I can roll around a corner and I know I can, fight basically anything I can meet, or at least survive a hit from anything I meet if I play it well. It's a vehicle that requires a lot of active input to make it work, so you need to put it in a good location. You need to keep swinging the hull around, swinging the turret around, bouncing shots, and putting yourself in a position where the gun will work. But it's a fantastic brawler, really aggressive, really versatile, and it does supplement the 6-3 lineup really well as well. So you have the IS-2, you have the ASU-85 or the SU-100P, if you want. So yeah, I think it's one of the best vehicles in the game, in my opinion. I absolutely love it, and I would definitely recommend you buy it. Absolutely recommend you buy it. That's still a way off, Pappy there, but it's getting there, getting there. Since I have a T-3485, I keep encountering Tiger 2P and it's hard to kill them. Do you have any advice for destroy it? Well, you basically just want to go through the turret cheeks. Ideally, the very middle of the turret cheeks. Because, I mean, the sloping from sort of above and below is really hard to get through. Because the angle does increase a fair bit at those angles. So that's a big thing as well. You're going to want to make sure that you fire when the 2P is not moving its turret. A lot of them will wiggle because it really helps to throw the shots off. But yeah, it's going to be better if you wait until the turret is completely still and not angled as well. If it is angled, you can get through the middle of the mantlet, but it needs to be the very middle. So basically to the direct left and right of the gun on those cheeks. And that's really the best way to go through it and engage it. And as well, try and engage as close to range as possible, because at long range, that thing has like basically every advantage over you. You have no advantage over it at range. So getting close definitely works because it makes your gun more reliable and you can easily get through the weak spot. That's really what I would do. So as close to the middle as you can in the mantlet, and make sure that you're firing when the turret's still. Yeah, there's not really too much else I can say apart from like very specific situations which aren't really very helpful, and it's overwhelming to give someone that much information, but yeah, that's what I do as a sort of basic level, I think. Some water now. Goodbye, Wobbly. Hope you have a nice day. Switzerland tech tree? I don't really know how many vehicles they have that would be applicable. I would imagine probably not very many, but I don't know. Maybe. I had a dream I was test flying the F-105 and dropped 4 750-pound bombs while listening to Iron Eel. Okay. That's quite a sweet dream. Maybe it will come true someday, although I can't really speak to that. When American Tier 2 video? When I get time, really. I mean, it's really busy right now, just in general, and there's always so much to do, and it's difficult to kind of find the time to make the videos, but I am finding time. Every evening I can sort of play a few games and get some footage and stuff and write the scripts and from time to time. But yeah, hopefully not too long, but it's still a bit more to go through to get to a level that I'm comfortable with the script and everything, so we'll see. Breathe, yes. Would you recommend buying the IS-6? Probably not as much anymore. I don't think it would necessarily be a mistake to buy it because it's still functional, but it isn't reliable. At 8.0 and 8.3, you have very little advantages. Your armor can be sliced through, your gun's not really that powerful anymore, and the reload really holds it back. It's really, really good at its own BR, but not really that much above it anymore. You can play it up to like 7.3, 7.7, but it's not really the most reliable vehicle. Again, I would say it's like, I wouldn't say you shouldn't buy it, but at the same time, I do think there are better options for you at that BR. as a vehicle, it works really well in some situations, but doesn't work very well outside of those specific boundaries. So it's tricky. It depends. Like the difficulty with a vehicle like that is that it's like rolling a dice. You know, in the aspects of the game that make the IS-6 work are roughly out of your control. The map you get and the BR you get, you can't really control apart from well, you can control it passively by your map, like your likes and dislikes on your maps and your lineup, but you can't control what you get. And if you get a setup that doesn't suit that vehicle, you're going to struggle with it, and it's not your fault that you're in that situation and have to use it at a disadvantage. So on that basis, I would say it's probably better to go for something a bit more versatile. But at the same time, it is still usable. You can use it in those situations where it's out of its element. So yeah, I know I can appreciate that's probably a bit more of like a non-answer and maybe not super helpful. But that's probably what I would go for ultimately as an answer to that one. Fix your game. So this is obviously a very common question, but a light bit of advice that I can give you there is that there's literally nothing I can do with that statement whatsoever. It's utterly meaningless as a phrase. And I think if you do want to contribute to helping in some way, or if you think something is genuinely wrong, we can have a dialogue about that, but you need to tell me more than just fix thing or thing bad. It has no meaning as a statement. I'm more than happy to sit here and have a conversation with what you think could be improved on the game, but I can't if it's just, an answer like that. So if you have more to say, go for it, but I can't engage with you on that level if that's all you can say. Why does the Chinese tech tree have so many Soviet vehicles? Because it's the vehicles they use in their service in many ways. A lot of them, I don't think they were kind of used in sort of massive numbers. But I don't really know much about their sort of army layout in general, so I'm probably not the best person to ask about this. But it's just that they used a lot of them historically, and that's really where it comes from. Help me with two-factor. I don't really know what your issue is with that. More information, please. Bad matchmaking, poor servers, etc. So, I mean, again, this is quite vague because, I mean, for me, for example, it's a question that I can't really speak with objectively with you because I have essentially no issues with servers. I know a lot of people have no issues with servers, but at the same time, some people do, usually people in the US, because I believe there is, I don't know, the server clusters they use had some issues in the past. I think they're fixed now, but I don't know what their sort of status is at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, it's certainly a valid point. I mean, some instances there are some issues, but it's not really an issue with the entire game as a whole. It affects some servers and not really so much others, but it's something that the team are aware of. They're always looking to improve them, and we are always improving them. And I think quite recently, maybe a month or so ago, there was a change to one of the routings for one of the US servers that fixed a lot of the problems with people. There are still some around, but I mean, a lot of it is just, general ping and PL, and it can't really be counted. It's just sort of the way it goes. Why must World War II tanks like the Tiger II or other World War II tanks fight against modern tanks? Modern is a bit of a disingenuous way of putting it. I mean, it's not like the Tiger II is fighting the Abrams, The Tiger II is fighting things that it can sort of reasonably combat. And as well, I mean, the Tiger II is a very... I see people use this as an example a lot, but War Thunder doesn't work as a game like that. If the Tiger II was just fighting vehicles that it historically fought, it would be incredibly powerful. And there's liberties to take with the game in that respect. And it's that, it's a vehicle that will have its armor negated in up tiers and by specific vehicles. And it's just how the game works. And if it didn't work in that way, it would be absolutely horrifically unbalanced. I mean, you can make your own comments about the balance of this game in general, but it would be way worse if that's how it worked. And I think it's way more healthy for the game in general to actually work like that. And I mean, the Tiger II especially is a bit of a lineup vehicle. It's still very versatile. It can work at 7.7, but it loses a lot of its advantages when it plays there. A lot of its advantages are the armor, and at 6.7, 7.0, 7.3, you can to a degree still rely on that armor. Above that, not so much. So, that's why lineups are great, because at 7.7, you can play one of the light tanks you have. The RU, if you have it as a premium, the the Bulldog as well, which works incredibly well in up tiers. And you have your options. There are ways to counter that those issues, and there's always things to do with that. And I think lineups are so underrated in this game, always so underrated, and that's a really good thing to sort of practice making, I think. 69 for 20 hours. Now that is, like, I don't know how you've said something that funny. I'm amazed at that. I would never have thought of that before in my entire life. That is incredible. I really can't believe that. That's absolutely phenomenal. Thank you for this. I feel almost like I want to cry. Thank you. That's fantastic. What do you think of the T72 terms spam? I can't really... There's nothing I really think about it, apart from understanding why it's happening, because it's on sale, more people are buying it. Does it hurt the health of top tier? Perhaps in some ways. But, you know, it's the onus of the players using it to do, you know, to stay in the match, or, you know, only play it when they have a lineup. I mean, there's nothing I can really do with that, apart from just understand why it's happening. Which one is better for Silver Lions, K50 or 288? For me, I'd probably say the 288 because the matches are quicker and more consistent. With the K50, it's a less consistent vehicle in Tank RB, and in Heli EC, the matches will take a really long time. You will earn a lot of RP in them, but it's probably going to be a bit more draining to play it, and with the 288, it's more relaxing to play, and that in turn will help your mindset as you play the vehicle. And, you know, if it's like one product will get you slightly more SL, but it's like kind of more tedious to play, and one gets you slightly less, but it's much more engaging to play, or at least more relaxing to play, go with that one because your mindset is a really important factor as well. With all online games and with everything, if you're not really liking what you're doing and you're doing it as a job rather than something to do as out of enjoyment, you're not going to have a great time. So I think 288, because it's just nicer to play, would be my answer. I can feel my vision going black, so I need to stop talking for a minute and drink something. Do you think we'll see more modern naval vehicles? I've got no idea, actually. But it would be interesting, because they do have some really interesting kind of designs and weapon systems especially. That would be really nice to see. Yeah, in general, I think I'd like to see that, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it's possible to implement. I have no idea. But I like it. I like it as an idea. I sort of want to, you know, I like the design of modern ships. They're just really pointy. I don't know. They look nice. I like that. Has when real premium in the English tech tree a plane that hits the ground with bullpup like the G91 and rank 9.0? Maybe in the future they'll have some options. I don't know for the time being. Absolutely no idea. But yeah, maybe in the future. I can't really say. I don't know. The premiums they have right now are decent. I mean, you've got the Scimitar, which has the bullpups, but tech tree, so it doesn't really count in the same remit. But yeah. Are you answering queues on Twitch or YouTube? I'm answering them on both, but it just so happens that YouTube spam the same question over and over, so I don't look at it as much because, I mean, it's the same like 3 things over and over again, which they know I can't answer. So I look to Twitch a bit more commonly than YouTube because they aren't asking more sensible questions. But I do still look at YouTube, it's just that there are less there. What's your most recommended premium plane or tank? I can't really answer that because the answer depends on you and what you want from the game. Because YouTube it has a delay and goes quite quick, I might miss your response. Lewis, I will, or Louise, sorry. I can't, I've already lost your name, sorry. But if you message again, be a bit more specific, I can try and help. Because the best premium plane or tank, it depends. It's not a kind of black and white question, I think, at least for me. It depends on what you want. What do you want it for? Do you want it for RP? Do you want to get to the end of a tree? Do you want it for Silver Lions? Let me know. I can try and help. Twitch ask. Well, the thing is, Twitch do ask more sensible questions at an average. It just so happens they ask more weird questions about other things. Although I did buy 2 shirts this week that have frogs on them, so you can enjoy that on Thursday, I suppose. What is the best non-premium close air support in the US tech tree? SU6 or the TU2. TU2 may be one of the most user-friendly prop um, CAS aircraft in the entire game. You get 4 drops of 500 kilogram bombs, a very usable platform, dive bomb gyro sight, so you can aim accurately in a dive, 2 cannons frontally, a cannon for defense. It's almost flawless for what it is. The TU2, the later one with the grey camo, that's 5.7, incredible. SU6 as well, really, really good. A bit more usable as a fighter, but not really to a reasonable kind of useful degree. But it is still very good. You got the RBS 132 rockets. You've got little bombs if you want. You have the 237s for setting engines on fire, knocking aircraft out. Both of those, I think, are really valid and brilliant options. The TU2 is probably easier to use, but the SU6, at least to me, has more versatility in its potential. But both definitely work, and I would recommend both, absolutely. How was my tea? Sadly, coffee today because we ran out of tea bags. I need to order some through Amazon. Awful. So I have horrible. There's bits in it. What is that? What is that? I feel like the bit in Prometheus where the guy's like pulling the little alien thing out of his sort of beverage. Awful. I can't believe that. I feel like there's, I don't know, sentient life in here. The coffee machine is a sort of a lawless wasteland anyway, so I don't like to think about it much. Should I buy the WMA 301 or the T69 2G? For disclosure there, I have not used the WMA at all yet, so I wouldn't be able to really give you a fair answer, but at the same time, I would go for it because it is more versatile. It's a vehicle that works better in up tiers because, I mean, it has the thermal, it has a great mobility, and on that basis, it works in areas where the 69 doesn't. Funny number, by the way, you can all clap and laugh now. So I think it probably does have more viability there, and as well, because it's a GE vehicle, you can eventually get it on a discount if you want, or maybe get a random discount for it down the line. So, you know, you can hold out and hope for that in the future, but I think it does have more ability. It's less survivable and therefore less forgiving as a vehicle, so if you're maybe not as confident, the 69-2 will probably see you do better because it keeps you alive longer. But if you are already confident with the game, you know what you're doing, you know the maps, I think the WMA will probably be a bit more suitable in terms of the long run, especially for up tiers and using in higher tier lineups as well. That's what I would go for. What would be the best 7.3 British plane for CAS? Vampire is always my option. I love the RP3s. It's a great low altitude jet to use against fighters as well. Really maneuverable, great at retaining energy. It can do everything. And it's great at looping maneuvers as well. So, you know, going up, looping down, rockets, you know, pulling off, maintaining that speed. Really, really good at that. I had, I think, an 11 versus 1 win in the Vampire in AirRB as well. Like, that thing is incredible. I love it. Always love the Vampire. Especially the red skin you can get on the market. Support our skin creators. Very, very nice. Yeah. Pro the Vampire, you can use the Attacker FB as well, but it has its flight performance is a little bit worse, although it does have a higher rocket load. It does have bombs as well, so does the Vampire. But I would go with the Vampire personally. Really, really good. Really good. Show us the tea you're drinking. Okay, well, I can't because it's coffee, but if I need to be very careful about this. There you go. You can just about see it. It's not secretly vodka, don't worry. Sadly. Should I buy the B1 to grind Silver Lions? Yeah, tricky. It's a vehicle that's incredibly strong at its BR. I think I have a 13-1 KD in it. It's really, really strong, but at the same time, if you're playing at 3.0, 3.3, it loses a lot of its power. So again, like the IS-6, you're rolling a dice to your own performance. Like, and the thing is, you can't guarantee you can take it out and utilize the armor because of how matchmaking works, and that means that it's a vehicle that's unreliable in its performance, and products in this game are never great on that basis. You always want something versatile. But when it works, it really, really works. But it also has a good lineup. So if you don't mind not playing it in some maps, it is still worth it. You can play the Crusader, you can play the Stuart. I don't think I have much else to play that's in the main tree, but yeah, I think it's still worth it to use. It's cheap as well. It's cheap and it's fun. When it works, it really works. It doesn't have the highest modifier, so you probably wouldn't get a lot from it, but it is relaxing to play. And so it does have value in that sense. But I think overall, if you do want a really effective SL grinder, go for something a bit more higher tier. But it's still like good for that job, if, you know, a bit limited in its overall performance. Oop. Don't know why I made that noise. That was sort of an odd reflection. Ah, a lovely cup of horrible water. Well, it's not really horrible, I suppose. It's got sort of bubbles in it. Well, it doesn't. It's fizzy. Although you can't see the fizz, which to me is disconcerting. I don't trust things I can't see. What we got here, Chief? Nice green mug. It's not green. It's yellow. You can sort of see it from the reflection there. I don't know why it does this, but it is honey yellow. Well, not really honey. It's like daisy yellow, I guess. Hey, Lewis. Sorry if that's your name. Sorry if that's your name. That sounds like I apologize for you being called that. No, your name is lovely. I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong. A very simple name to pronounce, I imagine. What would be the best premium you would recommend for Silver Lions? A lot of people usually ask this question, so sorry if you've heard it before, but the answer really is a vehicle that you enjoy. That's it. Because, for example, the T72 Terms, great Silver Lion earner because it's got a really high modifier, but not very easy to play if you're not familiar with the maps and how the vehicle works, how top tier works. So it can be tricky in that respect to use it. But at the same time, if you do well, you will earn a huge amount of lions. But a vehicle that's a bit lower in BR, say the T34 Mod 1947, Mod 43, or a plane like the JU288, that have less potential of earnings, but they are more fun, more versatile, and easier to play. And I think you need to decide for yourself where the compromise you want to take is. To play a vehicle that's harder to use consistently at the potential of getting the most out of it as a product because its modifier is higher, or use a vehicle that has a lower modifier but easier to use consistently. So it's a case of either, it might fluctuate, go up and down your earnings if you play something that's a bit more difficult, but it will be probably quite steady and gradual if you play something with less overall potential, but that's easier to use. So I think it's mainly up to you. I would recommend something like the 288 because it's easy. And the T34 47 or 57 is really good as a lower tier premium because it's in a great lineup. It's very versatile and it just does great work. And as well at 47, you can get a premium aircraft in that lineup too. You can get the premium Su6, which again is brilliant, or the P47 as well. Again, really, really good premium. And if you make a ground RB lineup with a premium aircraft and tank, you will consistently earn a lot of RP, especially if the vehicles are good, which both of those are. So hopefully that's it's a non-answer. I haven't really told you, I guess, maybe what you wanted to hear. But I think for premiums, the fairest thing to do and ask that question is to kind of ask a question to you back, if that makes sense, because I don't feel like I can answer it on your behalf. And I think that's what I would do. Work out what it exactly is you want, work out sort of your skill level and what vehicle will be best for you. And I think, yeah, hopefully that's given you enough to decide for yourself, and hopefully that helped. I certainly hope so anyway. What's the most LSL you've got in one battle? I think it was like 1,700,000, but it was from using a 900% booster that I got from one of the battle trophies. I can't remember what I was playing. I think I was playing the Russian Spitfire. Yeah, that was it. I was playing the Russian Spitfire, got 5 kills and a couple of ground targets, and I think that was the most I ever earned. Bloody lot. But yeah, I'm not sure how much it would have been without any boosters. I'm really not sure. Hi, Microgravity Official. Hope you have a nice day. I hope that didn't peak the mic. I sometimes make a little whistle sound when I make certain noises. Shh. Shh. Does that peak? No, it doesn't peak. Good. Whoop. Okay. That's a nice question from Human Husker. So we know that historically landship style tanks were a design dead end. I still really like them though. Do you have any vehicles or types of vehicles that you like the idea of that not prove suitable but could be? Yeah, I really like I like weird stuff. And a lot of you who know me know I like weird stuff. So things that kind of defy conventional design or things that are just a bit weird, I like a lot. I really like I think my favorite aircraft is the YB-35, the YB-49, those huge flying wings. I love those so much. I'd love to have them in the game. Obviously, they would not be very good for the game, but I would still love to have them. And vehicles like that I like. Um, for tanks, I can never remember the names of them, but Russia had some really interesting designs. Um, like kind of conceptual designs in the 60s, the Cold War, and the 50s, etc. They had some really cool stuff. I like those a lot. I can't remember the names especially. But aircraft, there was some really cool stuff. Italy made some really nice designs. And maybe someone can remember the name. America had that Bell aircraft that basically had two gondolas on the wings with like a guy holding a 37mm cannon. How cool would that be in game? I think the best thing like a video game like this can do can introduce a vehicle that changes how you approach the game entirely. So something like that, something like the Defiant would be really good, because the Defiant absolutely changes how you need to approach the game. No forward-facing guns. It's a fighter, but only with a quad gunner on the back. You need to play that thing differently to basically every other aircraft to make it work. And I love that. I love that for a game. So I'd be bang up for anything like that for this game. Anything new, anything interesting, anything that sort of makes you approach the game differently. I'm absolutely all for that in every respect. I can't remember any specifics or the names, but yeah, those are the sort of vehicles I like. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I think stuff that kind of is a bit outdated and maybe doesn't work that effectively, I really like. I really like. Spilled coffee on my finger there. I licked it like a cat. That's bad. Right. Oxy, why Volokolomsk map is removed from rotation. I think because it was hated so vehemently by the player base. But maybe it'll come back at some point. I actually really liked it. I didn't like the big version, especially with because a lot of the cover relied on trees, and with thermal you can look through them. So it was a little bit tricky in that respect. But I love the lower tier maps, and it is a shame we don't have them because I had a lot of really nice games on there. Especially playing with G Squad back in the day, we had a lot of sim matches on those maps and some really, really good ones. I miss that a lot. Yeah, that's why it was removed. Maybe it'll come back, but I can't really say to that at the moment. Is it worth it to go for the T10M? Sort of. It's not as good as it was. It's outclassed by a lot of vehicles, but it does still have a place and it is still usable. You can still definitely point and click on enemies, use the mobility to good effect. The armor can save you against some of the weaker shells, but not really in up tiers. There are better options. The T62 is better at 8.3 for like overall viability and what you can do in the match. You have the IT1 as well. Yeah, it's not really universally applicable to every situation, but it does still have some usability. It is still usable. You can still do stuff with it. You can point and click on enemies. It's a devastating round, and it has the best round stock as well. So you will have a really positive stock experience while playing it. It's a bit outdated in the meta, but it still does work. So I think it is worth it to get, but I would probably say go for the T62 first and then get the T10 as a sort of supplement backup. That way on matches, well, maps where the T10 doesn't work, you do have the T62 to pick up that slack, and that's probably what I would go for, ultimately. Do you even watch the people guessing your playtime? Of course I do. I look at every single one. But it's just that no one gets it, obviously, because it's like trying to guess a number between, you know, multiple tens of thousands is unlikely for someone to get. And I literally can look at the first two numbers, which are mostly wrong, and then just ascertain the rest aren't right. So I can look through them and know if they're correct or incorrect quite quickly. But yes, I am absolutely looking through all of them. Can you please recommend some fun premiums for under 2220G? Aircraft? Tank? What are you looking for? My nose has started itching again. It usually takes like an hour and a half. It's only been an hour. I don't know if it happens because I talk so quickly that it sort of I guess irritates my nose, or if it's that like because my voice is very, very deep and it's sort of I guess I don't know if it gives because it kind of vibrates my face maybe, and that it kind of makes the follicles on my nose irritated. I don't know, but it always makes my my nose itchy when I talk for too long. You're fine with anything as long as it's fun. Well, fun I guess would mean something that you can play and consistently have a good time with in every situation, which is very difficult. But I think something like the BV-238 is like that, especially with friends, like playing that land whale with like land whale, sky whale. I was thinking of I watched a really good video recently on speculative zoology, where whales moved onto land, and it was like having these huge. That the design of them was really cool. Maybe you can find it. I can't remember the name of the video, but yeah, it was like sort of a sort of disconnected evolution where huge prehistoric whales moved onto land but retained their kind of features and filtering insects and stuff. That was really, really cool. Yeah, sorry, really disconnected, but yeah, BV is good. It's fun for that. Hang on. There's just weird stuff in this coffee. I don't trust it. Yeah, something fun like that. Because a vehicle like the BV, you don't really feel annoyed when you die in it because like you're in a BV, you're going to get hit and you're going to die. So it works really well for your mindset because if you're playing a vehicle that's good and you know is meta and you die while you play it, you're going to beat yourself up about it. Like, you should have won because it's a good vehicle. The BV, you are so slow, you're going to take hits. Of course, you're going to die. And it can even be funny when you die if you're playing with friends and like a kind of group together. You know, because watching that thing spiral out of the sky is kind of fun. So that'll be a good one to recommend. It's stress-free to play. You just need to sort of fly, drop your bombs, gunship stuff. And it leads itself to fun situations, and I like that. And because it's a vehicle that, you know, you have basically no negativity on yourself while you play it. Because, I mean, in a lot of instances, it's like, what could you have done better? You know, playing like the 2A6 and you die, what could you have done better? With a vehicle like the BV, it's like, it's so limited by its size and its speed that there's nothing you really could do better. So it's a positive mental experience for you to play it because you're not going to kind of hate yourself if you don't play very well. So any vehicle like that is really, really good. And that kind of style of vehicle, I think, lends itself to a lot of other vehicles as well, like all over the place. Heavy tanks work quite well, so the B1 Ter is quite good in that respect as well. A lot of the lower bombers as well quite work. But there's not a lot of vehicles that fall quite so universally into that bracket as something like the BV. BV is the easiest. And there's not really too many that are probably quite as usable. Maybe something like the KV-1C. KV-1C is quite good for that. That's quite cheap as well. Maybe go for that one as well, because it's the same. It's a vehicle that's fun to use, it's forgiving, and then up tiers you don't really expect yourself to survive that long anyway. Maybe I would go for that one as well. Don't really know what else. Yeah, maybe one of those. Maybe one of those. I've missed a lot of questions now. Let's see. What car do you drive? I don't drive. So no car. I'm just trying to read some stuff here. Yeah, Havoc, Stickerless, yeah, Havoc's quite good as well for a fun premium. It's a bit of a bully though, like you will be like, it's like stomping on kittens. The Havoc Mark 1 and the British Tree, incredibly easy to use, hugely forgiving. Kind of relaxing, but you won't really get much out of the game by playing it, but yeah, not a bad one, I guess. How can the BT7 stock APHE have trouble penetrating the rear armor of the M2 medium? I mean, you'll miss, or, well, you'll non-pen if you make a bad shot. You hit a sort of overlapping plate. I mean, it should be able to go right through, but it will probably get caught on the engine. There are spots on the back, especially with the machine gun blisters, where, you know, your rounds might get caught. I don't think it should really catch too many shells. I mean, that it should be able to go right through, but it's yeah, I think that probably shouldn't happen commonly, at least, but it's certainly possible to happen in some instances. Is AVRE and Wyvern pack good? Yeah, I mean, the AVRE is very difficult to use, but it's in the right situation, on the right map, it's really forgiving. Great armor, really fun to knock stuff out with, and as well, it works incredibly well in arcade. It's so easy to use. You literally point and click on stuff. All the aiming is done for you. You one-shot anything you hit. You can literally hide behind hills and just use the sight distance to knock stuff out and they can't even hit you. It's really, really good for arcade. Wyvern as well, a little bit harder to use, good for CAS and ARB. You can, or ARB, ground RB. You can use it in ARB as well because you can get to the bombing points quite quickly. You can knock out some fighters if you're careful. It's definitely usable. definitely usable. But difficult to use if you're in a bad situation. It's incredibly heavy. So if you lose speed, not a lot, excuse me, not a lot you can do. So both of them are difficult to use outside of their element, outside of their comfort zone. But if you can figure out a way to, well, figure out, if you can use them within their parameters of their advantages, you'll have a really good result and get a lot of good results with them, I think. So yeah. Arcade is boring, you don't need any skill. I very much disagree with that. Absolutely. And I mean, it's not really objectively boring or engaging anyway. I don't think it's boring at all. I mean, people like to gatekeep modes in War Thunder, which is a kind of a very silly thing to do, I think. They have different skill sets. Some skill set, I mean, thing is, if you put an AB player in RB, they probably won't do very well. If you put an RB player in AB, they won't do very well either, because they function to very different skill sets. I know players who are great at RB and awful at RB and the other way around. They function on different levels. Just because it's easier to do certain things in arcade doesn't mean it's a sort of overall, like, tiny baby mode. Because, I mean, in arcade, the playing field is sort of leveled. So that does mean that players who aren't very good might have an advantage over you, but it means that everyone is sort of fighting on relatively equal terms, which means that you need to perform better to be able to counter players that otherwise would not be able to counter you. In RB, you can put your tank in a good spot and knock out vehicle after vehicle after vehicle without needing to do anything. You point and click. There's no effort required at all. In arcade, you can't do that because everyone knows where you are. So there is more onus on you to beat the people you're fighting directly. So yeah, I don't think it's an honest thing to say at all about arcade having no skill. Of course it requires skill, just different skill sets. Absolutely. Would Tier 3 Russia be able to play against German and America Tier 3? Yeah, they fight each other. They can fight on the same team or against each other. Yep, definitely. Most people that I see in arcade are level 10s with a ton of premiums. That's sort of a non-statement though, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't really constitute the skill or anything at all. And like, I think in all fairness, that probably, I mean, obviously I'm not trying to speak for you and, you know, apologies if it comes off as disrespectful, but I think that's most likely confirmation bias that you are only noticing the people who are using premiums on a low level. There's probably the majority aren't like that. But, you know, obviously I'm not trying to say that you're wrong. I don't know what you've seen, but from my experience of playing probably days and days and days and days of arcade, it's really not the case, honestly. There's a lot more than that. Do you know if Gaijin has plans to make a better mode for helicopters? Yeah, it's still in the works, but it's I can't remember exactly what the issues they're facing, but they are constantly working on it. And it, you know, I don't know when it will be released. I have no ETA that I can give you, but it's still being worked on and will be able to hopefully be out at some point. Question have I missed? What time do you think I can see my help ticket responded to? I guess it depends on what your problem was. If it's like a complicated problem, it might take longer. If it's a sort of, I guess, simpler problem, maybe it will be less. I'm not sure. I can't really speak to that. I'm not in charge of the support in any way, so I can't really give you an answer there, I'm afraid. Favorite burger type? I don't know. I've eaten 3 burgers in my life. They were all fine. I don't know if they were. I don't really know if they were that great. I don't know. Maybe I have a favorite burger. I just sort of. They're difficult to eat. They're annoying to eat. They sort of all fall over the place. I'm not a fan of that. Are you a virgin? Very apt question for the War Thunder official stream there. I'll choose to ignore that. Yeah, 3 burgers. I've only ever eaten 3 burgers, 1 by accident and the other, or 2 while I've been here. Oh, Warpath, thanks, dude. That's a Warpath 343 there, raiding with a party of 11. Thank you very much. Hope you've had a nice stream. Hope you've enjoyed the game. Please let me know how it goes. Are you vegan? No. I sort of just eat whatever. Well, I don't really eat whatever. That leads myself open to implications. I eat food indiscriminately, I would say. What did they say? Speed or armor? Both have value. Speed has more potential. Armor is a sort of safer advantage to rely on, though. armor is a passive advantage, speed is an active advantage, in that you need to actively have an input to your vehicle to make the speed work, and you don't really need to have as much of an input to make your armor work. Armor, the effectiveness of your armor is relative to the enemy's skill. The effectiveness of your mobility is generally relative to your skill. So armor has a use, mobility has a use. It depends on you and your skill level and what you feel you can do in the game. But I think overall, mobility has way more potential, and it's probably the safer thing to rely on, absolutely. Yeah, like, I mean, burgers, they're kind of, I don't really trust them in that I don't know what's inside them, and I like to kind of know what's going on inside food when I eat it. When I was really young, when I was like 4 or 5, and like my mum made me a sandwich, I'd be like, hang about, I don't know what's in this, so I'd always have a look inside and just sort of double check there was nothing untoward about what was going on. So I think I don't trust food that has like lots of stuff going on in it. I like simple stuff, just like having a bit of bread or an orange or an apple. But like, don't know, burgers, so much going on. They could slip a bit of a lime in there, and I wouldn't know. I don't like that. I don't trust that. I don't trust what I can't see. So burgers in general are not the only one that's like, don't know. I'll eat it if it's there, but I wouldn't go out of my way to sort of check it. Do you think a bomb would be in your mom's sandwich? No, I just sort of wanted to know what was going on. Because, I mean, maybe it's like a kind of deep-seated like survival instinct of just like eating stuff you don't know what it is, like berries and that. So, maybe. Maybe. I keep missing all my Oxy consumes all. I don't consume very much. I don't really eat that much. I had a sort of protein shake today, and that was it. That'll do me for the day. That's all. Sort of all I consume. Yeah, I'm British. Someone who asked. I don't know why people miss that sometimes, but yes, that is me. I am Bong. Mansion Yor? What does this mean? Mansion Yor. Sounds like an indie band name. Do you like fried beef? I think I had it maybe once. Did I? No, I don't think I did. I don't know. Maybe. Mansion tour? I mean, I live in a tiny flat. I'm not even close to that, dude. What's your opinion on the American T26? I really like it. Not too great in up tiers, but it's 6.3, really, really good vehicle. It has a decent lineup, so there's no pressure to use it in the higher tiers. And yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. It's tricky outside of its element, though. There are things that can just cut right through its armor, and then it loses a lot of its ability. At close range, it doesn't have a lot of viability either. But at long range, utilizing the armor, keeping yourself on the move, making sure you're not an easy target, using the manlet armor, really, really good vehicle. I like it a lot, but it is easy to misplay. I like it though. I think it's definitely worth using. Definitely. I don't know who. No, I do know who KSI is, but I've never watched any of his videos. I mean, he can fight me if he wants, but he probably won't get much out of it. It probably wouldn't even be legal for him to fight me. No, would be. No, would it? I don't know. Connotations I cannot follow up on. Snail Shed Tour. I wish we had one, but sadly not. What do you think about Shermans? Some of the best vehicles in the entire game, tier for tier. Easily. I love the Shermans. They're probably my favorite vehicles in the game overall. I really, really like Shermans. Shermans are great. They can do everything well. I'm a big fan of that. Of course KSI didn't start beef with me. KSI doesn't know who I am. I barely know who KSI is. What situation is going to occur when like some massive YouTuber wants to fight me? I mean, I would probably try and fight him, but if he punched me in the chest, my heart would stop. And there's not much to me. I'm sort of quite squishy as a person, so I wouldn't have a great job. office tour when? Maybe we're sort of getting a revamp of the office soon, so that'll be nice. Maybe we can do one then. Definitely. Anime heli tour. We do have a couple of anime pictures in the office, just sort of taped to the wall. But I mean, maybe we can show those on the tour eventually. That could be quite funny. I don't know why we have them, but you know. Hammond, this is not an appropriate response to make right now. If you're just trying to get some anger out of your system, sure, but nothing is going to be achieved by saying something like that. Go to support, go to the forum or whatever, I mean, there's nothing I can do at all to help you right now. Sorry. I mean, that's a funny comment, I appreciate, but I mean, I can't do anything to that right now. Go to support. I appreciate it will take a while. I don't know why if they're taking quite long. Oh, they're taking quite long, they're taking a while. I have no impact on that whatsoever. All I can say is that I hope they go back to you soon. There's literally nothing else I can do right now. Are there some secret anime decals and skins in War Thunder? Yes, there are. What is your opinion on the P38K and T29 bundle? Very, very good. T29 we've spoken about a lot already. Definitely worth going for, I think. I really, really like it. T29 is a great vehicle. The P38K as well, not as easy to use, quite easy to misplay, but it's an incredible aircraft to use as a disruptor. You can fly straight in that thing on a climb and appear above almost every enemy you'll fight at 5.3. So it's great in ROV, I love that thing. The Lightnings are great vehicles to use in general, and it's really, really powerful. There's so much you can do with it, and I recommend it a lot. It's a rare vehicle as well, it doesn't come around very often. So, yeah, I think it's worth going for. I think it's definitely worth going for. Tell us about date fail. What does this mean? Tell me. Are the Churchills good? I love the Churchills, all of them. The Mark III is not as good as it was. Now it's 4.3. But the Mark I, incredible. Mark 7, not incredible, but still very usable. And the Mark III as well, it's really versatile, and I still really like it. Yeah, it can't quite do too much anymore. But yeah, I like it. Gun is rapid fire, really good. Keep yourself angled, keep on the move. You can survive a lot of shots. You can penetrate almost everything you fight. Mark 1 as well, rapid fire gun, incredible armor. Suffers in up tiers, but works at like 3.3, 3.7. Mark 7, incredible armor, weak gun, really slow, but you can hold off a lot of enemies at a good battle rating. So yeah, I like them, definitely. Really, really good. Really good. Tell us about your worst every date. I haven't really had any dates. I don't think I've ever... I mean, I've dated people, but I haven't, like, been on dates. No one's ever, like, taken me out for a date. I'd quite like that, though. That sounds quite fun. I don't know what I do, though. So, yeah, no dates really gone wrong. I mean, I had some funny instances where I was sort of talking with someone and it didn't go very well. Well, one instance where that happened. But I can't tell the story because it's just so intensely stupid that I will refuse to talk about it because I don't know why I did that. Effectively, the core of the issue was the core of the issue is that I thought I was saying something. I can't tell you. It's just too stupid. I really thought Oxy was good with the women. I don't know anyone. Like, if I knew people to kind of maybe talk with, sure, but I don't talk to anyone really. I don't have the opportunity to go on dates. It could be nice, but it just doesn't happen. But that could be pretty fun. Maybe one day I'll go on a date and it will be enjoyable, but I don't know. I don't really have many instances. I keep trying to read all these comments. I can't. Mike should be my wingman. I'm not really super hyped about dating people. I mean, if it happens, sure. But like, I'm not really that fussed. I think I can sort of consistently not date anyone and be fine. But maybe it'll be nice. I don't know. It's not really something I focus on. Also, it's disconcerting where the milk is placed on my top here. It just says milk right on the upper side of the chest, and that there's connotations there that I'm not particularly fond of, but yeah, I just noticed that. Um, why is Obama the president of Indonesia? Now that is truly a Reddit moment. What a funny Reddit moment you've given me there. Amazing, incredible. Catherine Gaming, hi Oxy. When Gaijin gonna bring back the big bushes? No, bushes pack. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. I think, or at least it's like really, 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 really unlikely. I would not expect it to happen at all, though. I'm afraid. Sorry. Cereal or milk first? I don't really have milk in my cereal. It sort of makes it too soggy, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't like things that are sort of, I don't know, because it just becomes like a soup. I don't really like soup, so I just sort of have cereal on its own. Opinion on the T95? Really fun vehicle, if you like slower stuff. Yeah, if you like slower stuff, I think it's fun. There are vehicles that can't scratch you. They can knock out your barrel and get through your cupola, but it's fun. It's one of those vehicles that you don't feel like it's your fault when you die, because it's so slow that there's nothing you can really do to guarantee your survival. So it's a good kind of mental feedback loop for that. And I like it. I really like it. It's not for everyone because it is incredibly slow, but it's fun. It's fun to just like sit at the end of a road and bounce shot after shot after shot, and it's really fun. I like it. Excuse me. I feel like McDonald's should make a Oxy meal. What does that mean? That's such a loaded statement. I don't know how to respond to that. Very strange. Can I propose a unicorn for the mythical creature decals? Yeah, you can. Yeah, give it a go. That could be fun. Do you think they should make bushes visible in your gunner view, like commander view? I think probably yes. Like I use bushes on my tanks, but I use them in a way that I think like looks cool, like a way that's kind of not historical, but I make it so they don't cover viewports or anything, just so it makes the vehicle look kind of more decorative. I like that. I don't kind of put them all over my vehicles anymore, unless like I'm playing with people who really want to win and will get annoyed at me if I don't do it. So yeah, I think that'll probably be a good thing. Or at least, maybe if it was possible, have it so that if you get hit with HE with bushes, it blows them off or like sets them on fire or something. That could be cool. But yeah, I think something like that could be good. Do girls play War Thunder? Please open the statistics. Yes, they do, absolutely. I can confirm this. Rest assured, there are WAMs among you. Undercover. Operating... I don't know what I'm talking about, but yes, there are. There are. Yes. What is this question responding to? I don't know. Will we ever get player-controlled aircraft carriers like Ark Royal, etc.? I don't know. I'd say probably not, because the gameplay wouldn't be that engaging if you're playing a carrier to its strengths. It's not like World of like Warships where they function like on a very ahistorical basis. I don't think it would be great for gameplay, but at the same time, it's not my place to completely deny it. It would have to come from someone more official, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd say probably not, but not sure. What is your opinion on coffee? Strong, weak, espresso? Once I had 3 espressos. Actually, I was actually waiting. I was not going on a date, but I was meeting someone, and I was like really nervous, and I drank 3 espressos in the train station cafe and just wanted to die the entire time. It was nice though. We walked around Primark, and she tried to steal something, which wasn't very good. I forgot that she tried to steal a wallet. Yeah. So that's not great. I usually have sort of mid strength coffee or like high strength. I don't know. It depends on what I'm doing really. I prefer tea than coffee, but both are fine. I like them both. Hot date? No, not quite. I mean, see, this is what I mean. I've never really gone on proper dates at all. I would love to get taken on a date somewhere nice because I don't really know how to function as a real person in the real world. So I don't know what you do. Like, do you go to like a park and sit there, or do you go to like have an ice cream with someone? I don't know how it works. I just don't know how it works. So yeah, if someone was like, "Do you want to go and look at some ducks with me?" I would say yes, please. That'd be brilliant. But no one does. Maybe at some point. Tea has lots of caffeine as well. Yeah, exactly. I just like it because it tastes nicer. I don't drink it because it has less caffeine. Yeah, dude, if someone was like, let's go look at the ducks, I would be on that immediately. That would be such a nice day out for me. I like ducks. They're quite cool. They don't really do much, but the stuff they do is kind of nice. They have their devious tendencies, but I mean, I can respect them for what they are, and that's you know, I think something that I think we can all sort of aspire to be. Aspire to be, as in looking at ducks, I think is what I wanted to say from that statement, but I'm not particularly sure. Can you add squadron vehicle for ground Britain? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they will at some point. I can't really say. I didn't find what frog it was. No, I still have not located the frog species. Maybe in the future. I will. If it arrives, I don't know if it'll arrive on time, but I ordered like two tops with like frog themes on them, so I might wear one of those on Thursday. And maybe then we can sort of spark the frog debate back up again, perhaps. Yeah, dude, I'd go on a date to a duck pond. That'd be brilliant. That'll be my first date, maybe. Perhaps that will occur. What if the frog is a toad? It very well may be. It very well may be. We'll see. Okay, Twitch chat is definitely lost at this point. We've descended the into the abyss and there's no coming back. I don't have ducks, but will you look at my chickens? I will look at your chickens, unless that is like innuendo for something else. If it's literally looking at chickens, yes. If it's looking at something else, maybe not. Daniel, yes, I will look at ducks with you. Yes, we'll do this. Definitely. Oh, it's fine. Like, genuinely, I don't need dating advice. I'm not really that fussed on the whole kind of thing in general. It's one of those things that it's like, it's cool if it happens, but I don't really care if it does or not. It's just, you know, if it's occurring, sure. If it doesn't, also fine. I'm not really fussed. That's all good. Alex, Filizov, you're working on a pilot's license? That's really cool. Nice. Also asked, have you flown IRL before? Yeah, I've flown in a Spitfire LF Mark 9. I flew in a tandem flight. So it's like one of the conversions they made after the war. It was a Spitfire that flew at Normandy, and I flew in that. My dad got that for me after my birthday one year, after he sort of was going through some stuff, and I helped him out, and he got me that, which was really, really nice. So I've flown a Spitfire. I've actually controlled it in sort of tandem flight. So I didn't take off and land, but I did everything else. That was really nice. That thing, like, it's so, like, the kind of sensitivity on those things is, you literally, you like hold the joystick and you move it like a fraction of a millimeter and it will full turn. It's crazy. Yeah, no, he didn't get me a Spitfire, but he got me a flight in one, which is really, really nice of him. And I'm very, very grateful for that. Holy expletive, you're pale. Yep, I am quite pale, I guess. I can't really help that. It's just, I have very pale skin. As you can see, my arms are way more pale because they see less sun, but it's just what my skin is. I'm sorry about that. Oxy, what do you think about the Tog 2? I think the Tog 2 is quite cool, but I can't really speak about it in any other grand way, as it's not in the game. I like the idea of it. I've seen it at Bovington, and I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, I like the Tog 2. I think it'd be cool to have in the game, but it wouldn't probably be that great. Weekly quest for you to do a flip. I would probably snap my neck. And the thing is, I would like to try and do it, but at the same time, if I died while doing it, I would be so annoyed with myself that I would just, like, if I became a vegetable, I would just die. There'd be no point. It's like, I was on a good trajectory in my life to do stuff, you know, working here, which is cool, doing cool things, and if I managed to, like, paralyze myself from, like, doing a flip, I couldn't deal with it. It would just annoy me too much. I just go to that place in Switzerland where they, like, shoot you in the head or something. That'll be my my kind of goal after that. Terrible. Would you like it to come to War Thunder? Maybe. It could be cool. Do you play any games other than War Thunder? Yeah, I play some games. Sorry, I just read another comment that I can't respond to. Yeah, I like playing a lot of kind of more narrative games. I like games that have a story. I played Omori recently. Omori was really, really good. I played The Magnificent Truffle Pigs as well, which is incredibly sweet. And it's a game that kind of hit me on a very kind of connected level because it's like there are elements to that game that are scarily similar to like a situation I had with someone and like things that I do. So yeah, The Magnificent Truffle Pigs. It's maybe a game with the least gameplay I've ever seen, but I loved it, and I will absolutely recommend it to people who kind of like the more kind of emotionally charged experiences rather than like clicking on people and that kind of thing. So I played that, and that was really nice. What else have I played? I haven't really played much else recently, anyway. Yeah, I like games like that. I like weird games. Naissance is a good game that I played as well. I played that years ago, but I played it again recently. Yeah, those games, those kind of games. When do you think they will ever address the Russian bias? There ain't no Russian bias here, Chief. That's not even a meme. It just doesn't exist. Bad narrative. No. Tetley or Yorkshire? I do like a bit of Tetley. Do like a bit of Tetley, but I think I like a Yorkshire more than that. Whenever I try and do the Yorkshire accent, I also make myself, well, I always make myself sound either really congested or out of breath, and I don't know why I do that. But yeah, I like Yorkshire tea a lot. It's pretty good. Do you watch sports? Do I look like the type of human that watches sports? The answer to that's no. I think it was obvious, but still. Do you have any pets? I don't. It would be nice to have one, though. Like a little cat or something. Hello? I got a text from the HSBC. Alert. Request for new payee, a Mr. A. Jacobs, has made on your account. If this was not done by you, visit www.cancelpayments. I don't even have a bank account with HSBC. You gotta, and it's for a mobile number. You need to try harder if you want my money. Come on now. Scam me better because that's just embarrassing. Awful. I'm gonna send them a text back saying, please try harder, this is embarrassing. Please try harder, this is embarrassing. There we go. Awful. Just terrible. Like, no, I can't be doing with that. Awful. Awful. Are you a connoisseur of spam mail? Always. I mean, if they send me, like, something dumb, it's just, I mean, I will let them know that. Usually in a way that wastes their time. I could call them on that could be really fun, but the thing is, I don't know if that breaches any kind of privacy. And they might be really weird, and it actually turns out it might be HSBC. Yeah, that's awful. Terrible. Take off the headphones? No. Will the UK tree get an AA in the gap between the Crusader Mark 1 and Falcon? I would like that. That would be really good, actually, because they need it. I don't know what they could have, but I do know they did have one vehicle that is on the chassis of the Crusader AA Mark 1 that had 3 vertical Oerlikon cannons in the mounting. It wouldn't be that great, but it would at least be better than the other options. and that could definitely maybe be folded with the Mark One or just after it by like another notch in BR. But the thing is, it wouldn't be that even better than any of the German anti-airs, even below that BR. But that could be one to have. Or maybe the skink in the is a premium. I'm not sure. Anything like that could be cool. Maybe. Hell yeah, Copsy. That's the way to go. I mean, I'm glad I haven't done that yet, but I mean, at least that probably led to some engaging moments, which I'm a fan of. Very cool, dude. I don't get anything as funny as that, sadly, but I wish I could. I'll let you know if the HSBC people reply. I really hope that I don't actually have a bank account with them that I've forgotten about, and it turns out that like someone is actually trying to steal my money. But they don't. I think. Yeah, they don't send you links. I think ever. Very nice, dude. Let me know if you get anything funny. Um, do you feel France needs more love? The BR jumps are big, and there is now. Do you mean no low yet? Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some stuff they could have, but I mean, because of their situation in the war, they didn't really have the ability to make very many aircraft like that. It would be nice if they got more options, but personally, I don't know exactly what they could have. But yeah, I think it would be good if they did have some more intermediary aircraft at those points, definitely. But I just don't know what they could be. I don't have much knowledge overall like that. But yep, it'll be nice to see. What are these comments? I mean, as soon as I think Twitch chat's getting better, spirals off the deep end again. Absolute nonsense. Oxy, what does your name mean and where did it come from? Do you mean like my name as a person or my no? Why did I even my YouTube name just came from Oxygen Thief, which is a name I like my display name for years and years and years. I can't remember where it came from. I just liked the sound of it. I remember thinking about it in an IT class, and yeah, it's like it's a multi-layered name which I quite like, and yeah, I don't know. I think it just came to me as a thought. I liked it. Oxygen Thief. It has quite sharp syllables, which makes it satisfying to say out loud. And yeah, I like it. I just like the name. I think it just came from to me randomly, ultimately. But yeah, it's nice. I like. Oxy, please look at this. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Cool. I like that very much. I don't know what you were trying to do, but I'm sure it was nice. What is your opinion on the Focke-Wulf Condor? Incredibly weak. Great bomb load, but fun to shoot down. I like it on that basis because, well, I like fighting it because it's really satisfying to knock it out. But playing it is kind of a bit annoying. In up tiers, you're going to get shredded. You have like really weak defensive guns, really slow. I went to cover my mouth to yawn, but I went to my chin instead without realizing. Disaster. Yeah, so it's a difficult aircraft to use. I don't think it's that fun to use it because you are going to be intercepted before you can get to the bases most of the time. But it is, it's a nice vehicle. I like its design. I like it for that. Oxy, listen to my rap. Boom, bam, boom, bam. Oxy is gonna box me. Okay, thanks for that. Sorry if that peaked the mic. My laugh is basically making a noise like letting air out of a balloon. So, thanks for that. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Fantastic. Has Mike fixed the email backlog? Well, Mike's on vacation, so I'm doing it right now. There's no emails in the folder when I started, so if you want to do a request, I can do it like within minutes of seeing it. So, yep, no worries. If you want to request some stuff, send it over. Did you sleep? Yes. Always. Always. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Can the Whirlwind get up tiered? Maybe. Maybe not. It's one of those vehicles that could be sort of higher in BR, but yeah, I mean maybe. I don't know what its performance is. I mean it's going to work on the basis of performance anyway. So it could be at high BR, it wouldn't cripple the vehicle, but I think, you know, it's tricky. It's a tricky one. I think its biggest drawback is that it's easy to counter from the air if you know what you're doing. Um, Usually, if you can kind of count or like time its bursts, you know when it's on reload and you can strafe it like that. But it is an incredibly powerful anti-air. Maybe we'll get up to it, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe. What is Family Guy like in the UK? I haven't watched Family Guy for like 15 years, maybe. What is just this is a disaster. Terrible. Um, I don't know when the Xbox sales will be available. It's not on us really. It depends on when they can kind of be authorized through Microsoft. Same with Sony. If it was up to us, they'd be going live the same time as the PC sales. But it's nothing. We can't really have any input on when they go live, unfortunately. So yeah, sorry about that. It will take a while, but you know, it's something that will occur at some point, definitely. Do you have tips to get planes like specific game modes, or I'm not sure what this means at all. I'm afraid. I really don't know what you mean. Sorry. Yeah. So general advice to stream for War Thunder vehicles, progression, anything like that. I can do my best to help, as I have a very sort of lengthy timeline of experience with this game. I don't know everything about it, of course, but I know a fair bit, and I can try sometimes to use that, I guess, knowledge. I hasten to say knowledge, but in a sort of impactful way. What would you choose between the A1A1, L44, T72 terms? Terms probably has more potential overall with the commander thermals, but it's less. There's less areas in the maps where it can work. The gun depression really limits it. It's hard to get itself out of situations. The L44 has much less longevity as a vehicle. It's harder to use. Round is worse, much weaker, but it can utilize more of the map more effectively. Much more mobile, gun depression, more reactive in terms of mobility. Way better than C72. I think overall, I don't know. It depends on the map. On some maps, I prefer the terms. Some I prefer the leopard. So I don't think that's really a black and white question in the sense that I could give an answer that would be universally applicable. I think in some situations I prefer one over the other. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. It would really depend. T72 is probably the safer pick, but it depends. It really depends. I'm not sure. Is the SMK worth buying? I don't know. It's a good vehicle, but it's tricky. I think the biggest failing of the SMK, actually I can just show you. Well, no, I can't show you because it means I need to lean over. Yeah, so basically the problem with the SMK is that the main turret that leads into the crew compartment with the ammo around the carousel is rounded. So if you angle to increase the armor, the rounding of that turret bustle normalizes. So you cannot make the armor of the SMK consistently more reliable anywhere you put it. So it's tricky. It's a tricky one to say because you can't really utilize it in that sense as a heavy tank because its armor will be negated no matter what you do. If you're front on, the front armor will be weaker. If you angle, the bustle armor will be weaker. So it can't really function as a reliable heavy tank in that regard, but it does work pretty well. Yeah, it's a fun vehicle from time to time, but it's not overwhelmingly effective, I think. It's tricky. Can Gaijin return legacy menu theme? The difficulty with it, as far as from what I remember, it was removed because creators kept getting copyright strikes because the music that's played is renditions from Gaijin. Well, I don't think it was actually Gaijin's orchestra. I think maybe they hired an orchestra to do it, to make themes for the game. But because the themes are basically the same as, well, the initial composition, it does lead to a lot of copyright claims, and that creates a lot of hassle all over the place. So yeah, it can be difficult to kind of deal with, and I believe that's the reason why it was changed. it's not that they just want new music. It was that it was creating issues for creators, which wasn't really very fair. And maybe there could be an option to have a toggle for the music. I really don't know. But I don't think it's likely at this point. But maybe you can suggest it. I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. Tips for getting better aircraft as fast as possible. Play a premium or a vehicle with a talisman that you like. Really. That's all I can say. I could be really annoying and say, play better, but that is a meaningless thing to say to someone. Just play something you like, something you're good at, because if it's something you're good at, you'll play better, you'll get better results, you'll get new vehicles quickly, and if it's a vehicle that's premium or has a talisman, it'll obviously be faster. So, yeah, that's really all I can say, apart from being kind of, I guess, unhelpful in the comments. It just depends on your own ability and how you can play the game and what tools you have access to progress. So, yeah, that's all I can really say, I think. Yeah, man, Beethoven sued Gaijin. Crazy how it'd be like that. No, it's that there are certain companies that own particular, I think, renditions of the piece, and they do sometimes falsely copyright claim, even though it was Gaijin do own the rights to the performance. Because I believe how it works, because it's in the public domain, no one owns the rights to the song itself, but people can own the rights to the performance of the song. And so there's a huge kind of this pretty stressful, and it happens a lot, and it can be tricky like that. I believe that's how it works. Well, don't quote me on that. I'm not really very well versed in how the law works in that sense, but yeah. What exactly aren't you allowed to talk to us about? I mean, it's generally speaking common. That sounds really unkind. I want to say common sense, but I mean, obviously, I can't say that because you don't know what you can ask me, so I apologize for that. I can't let you know anything that's unannounced already. I can only tell you, things about, I guess, the game and whatever that's already well known. I can't tell you anything that's like new vehicles that are upcoming, what's being worked on, and that kind of thing. I can't really release any information before it's been officially announced. I can maybe give some insight onto how things work, but there will be limits in what I can do with that. But there are some things I can answer, so I can't really do a huge amount in that sense, but there are some things I can say, but just nothing that's like unreleased content for the game or anything like that. But I can sometimes give some perspective on how things work. Cut your hair, please, for the respect of the community. No, but I'm glad it upsets you. That's always very, very funny. It's strange to me that my hair holds such an emotional power over people, and I like that, so I will sort of keep it this length for now. Which is very, very funny to me. Yeah, I can't do that, I'm afraid, Copsy. I can't explain to you how magnets work. I can't tell you what those things in Gremlins were called. I can't tell you what frogs are, all those kind of things. No idea whatsoever. That's beyond my remit, I'm afraid. Yo, Ox, I'm back. Welcome back, weird human. That's not an exhortation about your presentation, but that is just your name. What else do we have? Oh, Cops, that's actually like super, super wholesome of you to say. Thanks, dude. I mean, yeah, if you want to talk about stuff, like, I have a lot of knowledge on pointless things, I guess, but they are quite pointless. I'm happy to talk about literally anything here. I mean, the majority of this conversation is meant to be chiefly about the game itself, but if you have a question about something else, then I can answer that. That's fine. As long as it's like, I guess, a sensible question that obviously is not outside of the realms of ability for me to answer, or if it's like a deeply personal question. I don't mind answering personal questions, as long as they're not, I guess, well, have to be sensible. I don't know why I did that with my eyes, like I was looking at an invisible rainbow. Strange. What's your opinion on the Object 279? Pretty fun. It's a versatile, usable vehicle. But it can get all of its advantages negated incredibly quickly by, darts and that kind of thing. There are maps where it just doesn't work. So it's not a reliable vehicle to take out and play. But it's, it's fun. It's a fun design. I think on that basis, it's like, I feel like I enjoy playing vehicles that look interesting regardless of their performance, and that's probably like a not really a functional gameplay aspect, but it's just I enjoy it. Yeah, I think it's probably not worth paying like a lot of money for, but if you have it and want to play it, it's it can be a decent bit of fun, decent lineup. It can work with the T62M1, which is a really good vehicle. Yeah, I like it a lot. Great damage, great reload, fun vehicle, definitely. How does War Thunder create its backgrounds? I think there's an art team that make them. I'm not sure exactly how that works. I don't have an answer for that one, unfortunately. But maybe they're doing Wallpaper Engine. I don't know. I don't even know what Wallpaper Engine is. I think it's just what can you just add effects to like already existing images? I have no idea. Actually, I've got no basis for understanding on that. But they do create them in house, from what I understand. Yep. Can you make more trailers, perhaps? I am in charge of making something like this in the future, actually. Maybe not for a while, but we will perhaps have some more trailers. That could be nice. Do you have a garden or something? I don't. I'd like a garden. I miss my flat in the UK because I did basically have a garden I could do stuff with, but I don't here. There's no room. I miss that. And I miss my place in the UK. It was cool. Do you have a racetrack rug in your house? I don't, but somebody opposite where I live right now has one. And for a few days, they draped it over their balcony. And I saw it and I was like, man, I just want to hang out there and play some Hot Wheels. But I never had Hot Wheels when I was younger. I just had like, what did I have when I was younger? I had like Beanie Babies. I had a lot of those. They were quite cute. But yeah, man, I was missing out. Racetrack carpets were wild. What was this comment? I missed it. Are you allowed to say expletives on stream? I think within like PG rules, like I can get away with accidentally saying one swear word, but I can't say like a lot of them, I think. Obviously I'm intended to like not say any, but if I say one, it's not the end of the world. It's just if I consistently use them, I think. Opinion on the Panzer IV F2? Fantastic vehicle for its BR. I mean, it's hugely versatile, not really great armor, but workable mobility in the sense that it can get to where it needs to go decently well. And yeah, incredible firepower for what it is. It can negate the armor of a lot of vehicles around the BR that rely on armor, so that makes it a very good vehicle. Works in up tiers, works on pretty much every map. It's just kind of weak. Yeah, one of the vehicles to absolutely prioritize in the early German tiers, 100%. Really, really good. Do you swear IRL? Not really. I don't really like swearing. I mean, I will if I'm around people that like do it a lot as well, I guess, just because I think it just feels like you should do that sometimes, like kind of casually, but generally speaking, I don't very much. Not hugely anyway. Hello, Void Sentinel. I hope you're having a nice day, evening, or night. What else do we have? Chat's moving very quickly again. If I buy the premium pack on PC, then can I use that vehicle on Xbox? I don't believe the accounts carry over. I think for PlayStation accounts, you can transfer to PC, but you will lose some features. You'll lose the A26, I think. And you'll lose, I think, any active premium time. I don't think it works the other way around, so I don't think you can, I'm afraid, if I remember rightly, although probably best double check that because I may forget. Considering there's a very limited amount of its tech that's actually put in the game, is the Challenger 3 still too advanced for the game? I'm pretty sure its cannons are already in use. Probably not right now. I think it's one of those things that I can't really say whether or not it's an impossibility, but I think it's very unlikely to see it in the game, at least for a very long time. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very, very difficult to kind of say right now for the long term, but I think it is quite unlikely, but I can't say ultimately. But I wouldn't expect it for quite a while. Because, I mean, it's hugely, very, very modern vehicle. I mean, there are difficulties with actually utilizing a kind of modern combat vehicle in a game like this anyway. I mean, to be courteous of the sort of, I guess, secrecy behind it. Maybe that's not the right word, but you know, it's a difficult thing to implement accurately, and that's itself it's difficult. But yeah. What's the worst job you've had? One job I had was the people that stand in the street and like accost you to try and get you to sign up to a charity lottery. I hate strangers at best of times. I'm not exactly the most comfortable person outside. So I did that for a week and I just stood there in the street and didn't talk to anyone and then left. So that's probably the worst one. It wasn't like awful, but it was just that I can't really do this. So I just did not. And then my job was doing YouTube and running my online shop, which is quite fun. I've nearly finished the coffee, so we'll be concluding soon as well, I think. You have a mild fever? Your back hurts, do you move it? Oh man, it sucks. Hopefully that, like, can I close up soon? I mean, back pain for me is like garbage. I don't get it very often, but it's one of those pains that kind of affects you in whatever you do. And if you can't get comfortable while you feel ill, it's like awful. So yeah, I can empathize with you, dude. Hope you feel better soon. Kind of sucks. Big love, big ups. Mukbang with Oxy? Probably not. I don't really like eating that much. It's not that I don't like eating, I just don't eat that much in general. And it would probably be, don't know, just sort of eating an apple and that. You're not going to get much out of that, are you? Okay. Are there any plans for the VK3001, 3002? No idea. I can't speak for any upcoming content at all. I've really no idea for that kind of thing. Yeah, it will take a very long time to guess my hours. I am looking at them though. Not quite yet. No, I don't think I've really had enough moments to make a top 10 thing. I don't know. It probably sounds ungrateful to say, but like I don't really like videos about me. I don't really like seeing myself at all. I mean, even looking in the mirror is stressful for me. So I mean, I'm not a big fan of just if someone uses me in a video or something. I don't mind if people do. Like, I mean, some of the videos people make, like Smeagol's videos are really funny. And I mean, like, in the job that I'm in, if I can't like make fun of myself, I'm in the wrong job, you know. So I like that. I think those videos are funny, but I don't know. I'm not like a big fan of just seeing myself and stuff. I'm not super keen on that, but you know, it can be funny. I can appreciate that for what it is. Let's see. What are these questions? I can't. The chat. This is the point where the chat just descends, which is good because we've just reached 2 hours, which means I'll probably answer a couple more questions, and vacate soon, because 2 hours is usually what I do for these. As otherwise, my voice starts dying, and I mean, probably gets quite boring in the end. So we will not be going for too much longer. Probably a little bit more. A little bit more. And I have finished my coffee. Well, I haven't finished yet. Wait, hang on. Oh my god, there's stuff in here. What is that? There's stuff in here. There's like little bits. Bits at the bottom. Hello? What is this? Man, there's bits in this. The coffee machine needs a deep cleanse. Jesus Christ, man, that's not nice. Okay. I'm not finishing the rest of that coffee then. So, yep. Right, I'll answer a couple more questions, and then I will vacate for today because I do have a bit more to do. Bit more to do. Probably coffee grounds. I would have thought the same thing, but it's never like that. It's always very, very clean and very sort of clean and serene. So there's something amiss in the machine, unfortunately. Did it take you 2 hours to drink coffee? I have it in a thermos, so it's kept warm. So not to worry. Do you know what the chances to get the 90% discount are? No idea, actually. I think it's entirely random from what I understand. But I think you need to play the game to have it happen, so that's all I know, really. What do you think of the Key 94-2? Really powerful, but not really very versatile. I think it's difficult to use outside of its element. If it loses speed, it's dead pretty much, but it's nice. It's a huge aircraft, really, really big, really powerful. Great cannons as well. Those high velocity 30s are really, really fun. Yeah, I like it. It's not a vehicle to spend like half a grand on the marketplace, but it's a fun one. I like it. It's enjoyable vehicle, but it only really works when paired with vehicles that play to different roles. When it came out, it wasn't really very good because it was playing in teams full of them, and back then, like, it had a very niche play style and what it could do, and it just suffered a little bit. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good now. I like it. I haven't played it for a while, but I used to quite enjoy giving that a go. Right. One more question. I'll do one more. Make it count, Chief, and then I will get back to other duties and such like. You can't hear that, but well, can you hear that? Kinda. It's my drum roll. Motorcycle impressions are not very engaging. Lots of XD tier questions here. Same thing spammed over and over again, which I blur out now. How do I eat pasta? I don't think I'm really the best person to... I don't really think I'm the best person to sort of say that. I mean, you can eat it how you like, really. I think you have the onus. You have the onus on yourself to eat pasta how you like. And I think that's a really important thing to have as a person, in that, you know, you have the agency there available to eat it how you want. I mean, it doesn't need to be... I don't need to tell you that. I can tell you how I think you should eat it, but I don't think that's really fair. So it's something you obviously enjoy consuming. It's good for you. I mean, it has a lot of, well, I think some pasta has quite a lot of fiber in it, and it's a very versatile food, so there's a lot you can do with that. And I think really it's just eating it in a way that you enjoy is probably the best answer to that question. I mean, in a way that kind of makes sure you can get enough of it on your fork or your spoon or your knife if you're incredibly, you know, manic in your behavior of consuming food. But I think doing it in the way that feels right for you is really the most important. So that's really the answer I'll give you there, I think. Just, you know, whatever's most comfortable for you, that's what I go with every single time. Absolutely. What is your favorite fish to eat? I don't really eat much fish. Don't know. Salmon, I guess. I like salmon. I like smoked salmon a lot. Smoked salmon's nice. Smoked salmon on Jacob's crackers. Yes, please. Don't know why I said that in that accent. I probably won't do that again, hopefully. Come on. What do we got? Do one more. One more. A singular final question. Singular final question. Okay, we'll finish on the one that gets sort of asked every time. When mouse return? And when, well, is the mouse good? Mouse is incredibly situational. Doesn't work very well out of its element at all. Obviously, it's the mouse. But in the right BR on a good map, it's really fun to play, and it's good to play with friends as well. It's a good lineup vehicle. It usually comes around to research for War Thunder's birthday every year, but I can't confirm that. I don't know if it's the plan for this year. I really don't know, but I'd say it's not unlikely to come back for War Thunder's birthday. So that would be when I would expect it. I'm not sure though, apart from that, but maybe. It's certainly a possibility, and that's all I can really say. Anyway, I think that's probably the last thing I can answer. Unless there's anything else. Yeah, I guess so. Okay then. Well, thank you all for being here today. It's been a nice time to talk and stuff. Hope you've had a relatively enjoyable time. Sorry if I missed a question. I mean, it's always hard to keep track of everything. It moves really fast sometimes, checking out both the chats and everything. But yeah, it's been fun. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully it was a brief and sort of, you know, gentle distraction from your usual day. And yeah, thanks for being here. And I will see you all as well on Thursday and Friday and the next Monday as well. So yeah, Thursday for the War Thunder stream, Friday for the Enlisted stream. And yeah, until then, I hope you all have a very lovely week. And I'll see you soon. Very good at well, very good, very bad at goodbyes. But anyway, yeah, have a lovely week. And I will See you soon.